This podcast is brought to you by Primary Arms. Primary Arms seeks to provide the best shopping experience for everything firearms, with over 13,000 products from over 400 top brands. Primary Arms carries a complete selection of rifles, handguns, firearms parts, shooting gear, apparel, and more. Every order comes with a commitment to superior service, backed by fast shipping and an expert support team. Primary Arms, serving freedom since 2008. Find out more at frn.deals/PA. Hello and welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first rifle or if you've been building them for years. My name is Nick Dooley, and I am joined tonight by my co-hosts, hosts, Garth Ofer.
Hi.
And you've heard him on the show before, Tyler Brockle.
Hey, everybody.
Yep. So Tyler decided to go ahead and join with all the other things he's doing because he doesn't have enough going on in his life.
No,
and
not really.
jump on with some of the co-hosting duties that we have. So be planning on seeing a lot more of him as we go. So, well, guys, what's going on with you? Anything new this week with gun stuff or?
Yeah, I'm going to let Tyler take it first.
As you know, Dooley, I recently started doing AR-15 build classes, and I actually hosted my first one this last week at one of our local gun ranges. And that's kind of where our topic is leading to tonight. I ended up building my own Aero Precision AR-15, and I chose to build that specific gun to dedicate to a 22 caliber AR, just because bullets are getting expensive. I used to think they were expensive, but now they're really expensive.
Yeah, now they're really getting expensive. So that's the kind of motivation I need, because I need a dedicated 22 after today's events that we'll talk about later. And man, that sounds just like a fantastic idea.
Well, I heard you were doing one too, weren't you?
I had thought about it for a while, and I swapped over one of my 5.56s to a dedicated 22.
Okay.
And the thing about it is I love that gun as a 5.56. So it's going to go back, and I need to find a new dedicated 22. So,
Well, that's good. If anyone hasn't figured out yet, we're talking about 22s this week, 22 conversions and 22 ARs. But since you're looking at building another one, Garth, this would be a good time to go into one of our other sponsors, VZ Grips. The unique features of AR grips from VZ is they are machined from a solid block of G10. G10 is great because it's durable and doesn't get slippery when it's wet, covered in mud, blood, or sweat, or grease from fast food restaurants. 17-degree grip angle. There's 17-degree grip angles with a wide variety of textures from mild to extreme. Color options are also available, and a shorty version is as well. 1911 grips, CZ grips, Beretta grips, all these with more than 25 textures and 27 colors. There's a coupon code good for all handgun and rifle grips with the code AR-15 podcast.
that is true. I actually really am excited to get those grips in the mail. I've been looking forward, been watching the mail, haven't got them yet, but the day they show up, I am.
Well, I might know where yours is.
Oh, really? That's nice. That's news to me. Is it down in Pier?
Yes, it would be.
Well, I guess I'll have to get it Thursday then.
Yep, I do believe that there is one sitting there for you.
Okay.
That Martin got right before they went to the hockey game for the weekend.
Well, that's fantastic. I'll pick that up then when I go down for Marty's Mugs on Thursday. Oh, I can't wait for that. That's going to be a great topic, I bet, for discussion on Thursday.
Yep. So I obviously have not done anything at all with an AR.
Well, you've been buying and building. Well, not building, but you've been buying.
I've bought some parts. I've done some things like that.
For the super build you're going to do.
That's the most I've done is window shop. And by window shop, I mean buy things online and then go.
I mean, it's pretty great, right? When you come home and you got that package from Amazon or Arrow or Faxum or whoever you're ordering for, right? And I at least one a week, maybe more. I can't even imagine what it's like to come back after 365 days to what your basement is going to look like. It's like 10 years of Christmases all rolled up into one when you think about it.
I was in his basement not too long ago, and Marty's been cleaning it, but he keeps adding shit to it. It's not shit. It's just he keeps adding a whole bunch of stuff. And so for as much as she takes out, he just keeps bringing more in, even though he's not home.
Well, and I keep telling her that she can take like the big boxes out and just put things, in smaller ones, as long as like the original packaging is still there. Because I really don't need to play like guess the spring in a tote.
So I got to tell you my favorite Dooley basement story. The first time I come over there, right? He's got gun parts piled, right? You obviously know this, Garth, and I'm just kind of walking through it, and I like slip on something, and I look down, and it's one of those U.S. Army little award booklets, and I'm just like stumbling over an ARCOM for him saving a guy's life because he was choking at a banquet dinner, and Dooley stepped up and saved him. And he's just got the craziest shit lying around that basement, and I couldn't believe the stuff that you would just trip over randomly.
Oh no! If you need it, it's probably in Dooley's basement, and if it's not in Dooley's basement, you don't need it.
I mean, that's a fair assessment. I might not have the codes to the football, but I can probably find them. So we're talking about the 22 conversion or 22 ARs.
Yeah.
Now, this is a subject that's really interesting to a lot of people because there are dedicated, ARs that are 22, like the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522.
Yep, absolutely.
I know Colt makes one.
HK makes the 416 version of it. Tippmann Arms just came out with one. I saw them at the SHOT Show this last year. That one's kind of, I did some searching on YouTube. That one seems to be all the rage in terms of reviews right now because I think it's the newest to the market, I believe.
Yep,
Mossberg makes one. Yeah.
Yep.
Who else? There's like a handful. Probably 5, 6, 7 of them out there that.
Well, there's the GSG ones as well because German Sporting Guns makes everything. They make 1911s, and they actually used to make the 1911 22s for SIG were made by GSG.
Until the word got out that you could get the same exact gun for 25% less, just because it didn't have the SIG name on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, so these are these are a really great thing in my eyes because as we've talked about, ammo is, well, we were right on that edge of like ammo being back to almost normal pricing and available and you could find it places. Then strange things started happening around the world and ammo started to once again ebb and flow and not be available or go up in price, especially if you shoot steel cased.
Yeah, if you're shooting steel cased, buy it while you can and say goodbye to it for a long while. Yeah,
that is very much so the truth, which is why we are not, the Commie Rifle podcast.
Yeah, those guys got to be hurting. Well, I know they're hurting because the other day I was watching Fox News, because, reasons, and they were saying how they were sending all the AK ammo from their Wisconsin shop over there to help out with such causes and, reasons and bringing the good fight to those commie bastard Russians.
Yep. So having something that you can use for 22 or, you can shoot with a cheaper price is nothing new. Like this has been around for a long time. And 22 conversions for ARs have actually been around for a long time as well. And like I know the first one I used was not the best, but it also, the first time I touched one was 20 some years ago, or it was 20 years ago, and it was old then. Actually, I found a good picture of the kit that the military used to use
And you
for.
have it. And you're going to bless us all with a picture of it.
I am
All
going
right.
to.
Do you know who used to manufacture that for him? Who made that kit?
Atchison.
What was it?
Atchison.
Atchison.
ATCHISSON. So if you look at the screen, and for those of you who are not able to, I will describe what this is. It replaces your bolt carrier group and goes in, and it's a standalone item where it's spring that is, would be the buffer spring that moves the action, is sitting on top where it, rides in the charging handle. And then it has a couple pieces of metal that go around to hold the bolt in place to keep it from sliding out as it moves to the rear.
That looks freakishly close.
It does. I was just going to pull mine apart.
Yes, it does look amazingly similar. And then the magazines that it came with would fit into a standard AR mag well.
Yeah, those are hideous.
But were a single stack that went down. And I can tell you that if you would accidentally bump one on the ground, it would lock the rifle up.
Looks like a Vietnam era steel mag fucked an MP5 mag and made that.
You're not wrong.
I can't believe I've never seen one of those. When did they start going away from using that?
They still use it.
Oh,
really?
Okay.
Yeah, I can take you to. I could bring those out where they are still in use now.
Oh, interesting.
I'm sure there's a guy or two, maybe even in my hometown, that might have a conversion kit like that. I'd have to ask him.
Yep, that was the OG ones that I remember.
So I guess the big question then is, conversion kit with a standard 5.56 223 style rifle or a dedicated 22. Is there is there a better route to go or not? I tend to lean one particular way. I did a lot of research on this over the last few weeks, just as I was building this rifle. I have what I use is the CMMG conversion kit, and I've had it for actually about 3 years now, and I've really liked it. But I have questioned at times, hey, is it better to just go out and buy one of these, HK 416 22s or one of the MP15 22? And I think it kind of depends on a lot of factors. And number one is obviously reliability. Even though you're not really taking a 22 caliber AR into combat or something, it's still nice not to have all the stovepiping, all the jamming up, right? Especially when, you tend to blow through 22 a little bit quicker than the rest of your ammunition. So I really like to make sure when making a decision which way to go is, number one, is it reliable?
No, I agree with you there, because that's what I ran the last 4 years was a Smith & Wesson 22, especially with the competition and stuff. And I really enjoyed running mine. I didn't have too many issues as far as stovepipes or anything like that. It was more, cleanliness. But if you're running an all composite rifle and you're running lead nose, you're gonna have issues of cleanliness. But
yeah,
as far as anything like that, I didn't have a huge issue. I also have the same kit you're talking about and took mine out today, and it never shot it until this afternoon because I heard we were talking about this. And then I realized I brought the wrong ammo because I was running some high velocity stuff through that. And man, out of 2 mags, I had 18 jams, and it was rough. Yeah. But then I ran a mag of CCI, and it ran flawlessly. Yep. So that depends on the ammo. And I guess, again, if you run high velocity stuff, maybe not the best option to be going out and testing a rifle with either. So
I've noticed the ammo is a big deal. I have Hollow Point Federal 38 grain. I have a lot of that, and that was I got that for 4 cents a round back in the day, so I scored there. But then I also have some of the 40 grain Aguila ammunition, and don't get me wrong, it's not this the really high end CCI stuff, but it actually runs fairly well. And I started to notice a drastic difference with the GSG 22 pistols I have. That just that extra 2 grain or whatever in that Aguila really helped it perform a lot better. But when it comes to plinking, I want to be able to just run that, run of the mill cheap stuff. The hollow points, the shape of the bullet also tends to have a huge effect on it as well. I find that full metal jacket 22s, just because they don't have that hole in the center, they tend to feed a lot better. Whereas you don't have that issue on, like, say, 9mm, 45, larger caliber hollow points, just because they have more material that the feed ramp can come in contact with. So I think right there, your ammunition, and just making sure that your ammunition, whether it's high-end ammo or not, just works with either the conversion or the dedicated 22 rifle that you're using.
No, I agree there. But I mean, getting back to our original question, I mean, do you want conversion or do you want dedicated? Myself, honestly, I'd rather have dedicated, because I'm already running into the issue. Like I said earlier, my conversion is on a 5.56 platform on a 6 hour 400 tread. I love that gun. I love shooting that. That was my competition AR gun. And then I switched it to 22 going, it'll be fine. And for the similarity of the weight and holding the gun, and I mean, because your 22 M&P is so much lighter, I don't feel you get the same follow through and reaction because it's such a lighter gun. And so I wanted to switch to a heavier gun. Well, once I started running that gun today, even shooting it, I went, man, I really miss this as my dedicated actual 5.56 competition gun. And so that's my biggest issue and drawback is I think I'd rather have a 22 dedicated actual gun rather than a conversion kit, just because I'll always want to convert that gun back to its original bolt in a 5.56.
No,
that just means you need more ARs, man. Then you won't have to worry about it.
Well, that's my problem. I have ARs, and I mean, I know it's only 2 hours and dropping bolts and stuff, but I like to have a dedicated gun for everything.
So this comes into just what you were talking about with the training analog, specifically for like for competition or something like that. So if you go to the PRS side of the house, which we generally don't ever talk about bolt guns, Bergara makes a $1,000 22 long rifle.
Yeah.
That has the exact same length of pull or or throw and everything as one of their competition, as a rifle to use as a trainer, so you can get used to running the rifle and having all the same motions and stuff like that. I know Ruger does something. I don't think they're exactly the same between the. I know that you can remove a plug on the Ruger Precision rimfires to make them the same length as the Ruger Precision rifles.
Yeah.
So having that rimfire analog to your center fire competition rifle is fairly common across a lot of aspects of the shooting sports. But when you do this, it's as here we had a comment pop up here. Jim says dedicated 22 uppers is the only way to go. Now, there are people who make AR barrels that don't have a gas port in them, that are designed just to be used with this CMMG bolt, and running something like that where you could actually do a lot of kind of neat things. I know that I could show you a picture on Facebook of a friend of mine from down in there that he used one of the Brownell's BRN 180 lowers to make a dedicated 22 that had a side folding stock that you could still shoot when the was folded to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very cool.
And then he just made it look absolutely hideous. Well, I found the picture of it earlier, and if you knew Tate, you would understand that he did this just because it looked terrible and thought it looked cool.
Ooh.
What the F?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you'll notice that, like, he even put the duck bill for like the aim point on the carry handle. And that's an A1 receiver. And
That is some Mad Max looking shit right there, to be
Oh,
honest
yeah.
with you.
yeah, it was steampunk, and he did it to be unique, and he hit the
nailed
mark
that.
on the head.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
But-
that's a big point. That's a big selling point too when you're considering this. Is a lot of these dedicated 22 caliber ARs are actually you kind of got to be careful, and I highly recommend that if you want to go that route, you know, there's a lot of great reviews on YouTube. Some of them you can't really modify that much. You look at like the Colt M4 22 long rifle. Now the good thing about that versus say like the M&P 1522, the M&P 1522, I think it's a fabulous gun. But it's all polymer, 100% polymer, upper, lower, buffer tube. It's all polymer. And you can't really modify, like if you want to change out the handguard, you can't really do it. You want to change out the buffer tube, you can't really do it. And if you're going for more of the realism, you know, it is very light. So it's really great. Somebody pointed out, like if you're trying to, you know, go to the range with your kids and you want it to be a little bit more controllable for them, that's a great feature there. But if you're looking for something that, you know, has the weight of a real AR, maybe not the case. Now, when you look at like the Colt M4 version, that one's all aluminum. You know, they try and replicate the weight, the look, and the feel of the Colt M4 as best as they can. But then if you want to, you know, if you want to drop in like say a Geisley trigger or something, you can't do it because it's all dedicated internal components. I see with the I watched one of the reviews of the new Tippmann, and a lot of people praised that for its ability to be modified, because that's one of the biggest and coolest draws to an AR is the fact that you can change it and you know, over time build it to how you want. If you don't like something 2 years after you built it, you can always modify it again, and that's a really nice thing, to be able to tweak the parts and get stuff that's already available and not have to buy dedicated stuff for this, you know, for a particular rifle.
So while you're talking, I just pulled up the website for the Tippmann, and we will get into talking about the mags and some of that nature as we go on. Before previously, if you wanted to get that weight, honestly, your best bet for doing something like that was to run the, you know, go out and do something like, you know, buy a, you know, click through our affiliate link and go to Palmetto State Armory, and then, you know, order a, you know, another upper or something, you know, when they have those deals of the day that everyone gets in the email, and then you go, shit, do I need another upper? You know, and you order that, you know, $270, you know, 16-inch upper. Well, now you have another, you know, proper weighted everything, and you can change out whatever it is and have that, and that'll just be your 22 rifle running, you know, the mags that you have, because one of the downfalls has been the mags on some of these. You know, it's as before we go back to that Atchison conversion that, you know, I started with. You know, those were obviously a proprietary mag, but like the Colt mags will not fit in a standard AR receiver, and I want to say the Smith & Wessons will, but you need to do an adapter plate.
Yes,
We do. Correct. Okay.
Yep, and then you can do that, and they'll have an adapter. Yeah, they have a little adapter that goes into the mag well, because they are size different than a standard, you know, M16 mag. So having the capability to go back and forth with that, you know, really is one of those where building out the same rifle you have and using something like, you know, the CMMG kit.
So there it is. That is the Boonie Packer. So this little guy just inserts into your mag well, locks in place, and then this basically allows you to use Smith & Wesson magazines with your CMMG conversion kit, because stock, the Smith and Wesson magazines hold the round, like when the round is sitting in there ready to go. The location on the CMMG mags is different than the location on the Smith and Wesson mags, and so that's where this little adapter piece comes in and properly positions the Smith and Wesson mags to be used with the CMMG conversion kit.
And that adapter doesn't affect the current mags right here when you're throwing them in a regular AR?
No, so I mean you'd have to take out the boonie packer to be able to use the CMMG.
Oh, okay, all right.
So that was one of the major considerations for me, because like I said, I had this CMMG conversion kit for a long time, but what I didn't like about the CMMG conversion kit, I'm trying to show you here. So CMMG made their mags. This is a black polymer mag. They're completely enclosed. Now, the benefit to these magazines is these are the same size as stock mil-spec magazines. So from a training aspect, it's got the same weight, it's got the same feel, it's got the same, just dimensions. The downside is when you compare them to the CMMG mags or some like of the Pro mags or even the Colt mags, and I think the Tippmann and the HK416 are the same way. They have an exposed spring with a little basically button, so it allows you to pull the spring down. Whereas these guys, you are fighting the spring as you put these very small rounds into this magazine. And I really didn't like it. I liked the CMMG conversion, but I hated the magazines. And so I actually wanted to switch to the Dooley, your wife is so good for my ego. I wanted to switch to Smith & Wesson just because it made it so much easier to load. But when you start looking at the prices, those Smith & Wesson magazines right now, even on Gun Mag Warehouse, are selling for $35 a pop. And you can get the CMMG magazines for just $19. And I had a local guy here show me the coolest thing. This is and it's very inexpensive. I'm going to step back a little bit. This is the McFadden loader. And regardless of what magazine you get, you can change out this little orange adapter right here. But how it works is you put just a handful of 22 in here, and you simply shake it, and they will all start aligning right in here. And you just hook your mag up to it. Sorry, you pull the trigger, and it'll actually load 25 of these in less than 5 seconds. And so I ended up actually really committing to the CMMG conversion just because of this loader. It made it so much easier. Now, don't get me wrong. You can, like I said, you can still use that loader for any of the magazines, and I highly recommend it, whether you have the little exposed button and spring on the outside to pull it down or not.
Well, that's a really neat little piece of equipment.
Yeah, and it's inexpensive. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm probably going to be very cautious if I sit on it or not, but for $25, man, it really saves my fingerprints.
Yep. Well, I was when you guys were talking about the loader, I looked up the Tippmann mags.
Mm-hmm.
So the Tippmann mags, when you look at them, they did not have what it was you were talking about.
The exposed spring.
But they have kind of a different setup. Because I'll do the screen share again and do my best to explain this to everyone. So when you look at the picture, it looks like just a normal, AR mag. But as it goes through, what it is it's the same dimensions from what I can see, but it has a sleeve and you hit a release button for a dust cover, and the magazine slides out of the dust cover, which would give it the same dimensions as a standard Stanag mag.
Yep.
And then it has that loading assist button on the outside.
Yeah, that's I think one of the huge benefits to the Tippmann. Now, I have to admit I have not shot one, but they got a lot of really cool features on that particular weapon, and that is one of them that I really like. Now, I would still use this loader, don't get me wrong, but in the event that I forget it, which happens every once in a while, it's really nice. It's so much better to be able to just pull that exposed spring down by hand when you're loading.
It really is, and
No, I agree.
it'll save your thumbs a lot and just be a little bit less of a bear.
Yes.
It is brutal today. I mean, that's the one thing I noticed about these magazines is there is no spring, and that was the first drawback when I started loading. I went, oh, okay, the first mag's not bad, and the second mag it got worse, and by the third one, I hated myself, and I was like, this isn't even worth having. But no, I mean, now that with that adapter, I think that's probably the way I would go because I really enjoyed the Smith & Wesson mags, if anything, just for the loading capability.
Yeah, and that loading capability and having the other, like that little loader that Tyler was just showing, does bring out a lot to be warranted for this, just because, well, it gives you the options and saves people's fingers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm probably going to buy the Smith & Wesson mags at some point, right? But I'll probably wait until hopefully they come down in price. But until then, I got a full plethora of these CMMG mags, and I've gotten to this point where it used to be, and I think Julie, you've talked about it, like a minimum of 10 mags for every gun. But I used to be where I just had like a few mags and I'd go with my whole loose kit of ammo. Man, I really like going to the range now with just a whole ammo can full of preloaded mags so I can just focus on shooting. And then when I come back, just have a quick, 15, 20-minute session of just slamming them all back full again. And it's much more, it's more efficient. And I like it that way.
It's a lot more enjoyable to show up to a competition with fully loaded mags and everyone go, well, when did you do that? Well, they're always loaded. Don't worry about it.
Then you don't have to feel bad because you're back there trying to get your magazines loaded while everybody's out resetting targets and they're giving you the dirty looks.
Exactly.
Yeah. Struggle is real.
Yep. And some of us, have run into that before where it's, oh, I need to change platform because I ran out of loaded mags.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, someone has a pile of Beretta mags.
You're the only guy, bud. You're the only guy.
I'm not the only guy. I know another guy that has a pile of them as well.
I mean, I've used the M9 Beretta for 3-gun before, and don't get me wrong, I don't like the M9 by any means, but it has its benefits, and it is a very smooth shooting gun with a nice long barrel, and when you got we've had some 3-guns where the very last shot is you have to like shoot 50 to 75 yards with your pistol to hit like a little plate to end it. It's actually a good shooting gun, but they've definitely upgraded it, and they've upgraded to the military's upgraded to I think a better option.
Yep, I was holding strong to my Berettas for a lot of years, and kind of refusing to give them up until we got.
You're not cool until you break a Beretta. Oh man! But,
yes,
yeah.
I saw that. Broke the slide plumb in half.
Oh geez.
But I made the switch to the M17 and the 320 platform as well.
Yep.
And the quickest way to remedy those long shots on a handgun is to put a red dot on it. And then sight radius no longer means anything.
Yeah, I know. I have this problem where I'm like, I dove into the whole world of red dots. I wanted to get like a Sig Romeo Pro, which is what fits. It's got the Leopold Delta footprint or whatever to go with the M17. And then I learned that Sig came out with the Sig Romeo 2, which has the same footprint, but it's waterproof. It's got built-in rear rear aperture sights on it and all this. And
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, I want that, but it's only $400 more.
Yeah, it
And,
looks like the Aimpoint Arco.
Yeah, and good luck getting it right now. So
yeah.
But anyway, yeah, back to the 22s. If you don't mind, let me show you what I put out this last weekend. So this is the
Yep. Here, I'll just do this.
Oh, there you go. Oh, fancy that. So, yeah, that's I can pull this bolt out for those of you who aren't familiar with the conversion kits, but you can simply pull out your takedown. You're using all the same components, and you just pull that out. And if I want to convert it back to a 223 556, I just throw a regular bolt in there, and I'm rocking and rolling. And so that's the the major, I think, positive for the conversion kit is if you don't have the money to purchase 2 dedicated guns or don't want to spend the money for 2 dedicated guns, I think this conversion kit normally runs about $199. I got mine out from Brownells, but you get 3 magazines with it, and if you wait, I mean, they normally run a sale on them, and it can get down to like $150 or $160. So it's a really good option, and I've there you go. Damn inflation.
MSRP right now at $229.95.
Yep.
But
again, I did mention reliability. The thing runs like a champ. I mean, the only other dedicated 22 rifle I have is a GSG MP5 clone, and I'll be honest with you, this CMMG conversion seems to run a lot more reliably. I mean, I didn't start having issues. I think I had somewhere between 2,500 to 3,000 rounds, and I would get a stovepipe every once in a while. But the second I cleaned that thing, ran like a champ again. So in terms of, is the 22 conversion more reliable than a dedicated 22? I mean, 2,500 to 3,000 rounds with no cleaning before you start seeing an issue every once in a while. I think that's pretty solid.
No, it's not too bad at all, really. I mean, I need more time with mine before I make that, jump or conclusion to see what works for me. I just ran the 22 dedicated. And I guess out here for competitions, it's not really a big thing because I realized that we're the only guys running 22 competition out here in Pier just because it was an ammo crisis. And so I was, well, we'll just run something simple, and it'll be fun. But now, I mean, it's just become so fun. And then, of course, the training aspect. I mean, like, ammo is expensive right now. It's going to get up there. And so what better way to, take yourself out to the range and shoot a couple hundred rounds, or you can shoot 1,000 rounds in a day in 22 and still, be just
Are you guys
fine.
just doing like 3? Is it just like regular 3-gun rules, but with 22?
Well, I mean,
so how they have it set up is they actually, before PCC became a thing, they would do they did a 22 rifle, and they would run it just the same as 3-gun, only you ran it with a 22 rifle.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And then they also have it where you can do 22 rifle with PCC. So you run the PCC course of fire with just a 22 long rifle.
Oh, okay.
And it's with the way our club is set up there in Pier, it's a little bit different from others. A lot of places, you show up and you shoot one class. You pick what class you're shooting for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Not ours. You can run all of them if you want.
Well, now they're talking about changing the rules. So you can only run 4. But I mean, we had guys who would show up and run like 10.
Yeah.
And so you'd be there an hour longer than you needed to be because they're trying to run, I don't know what side of the street Dewey's on, but that guy over there would run 10 freaking classes.
I was not running that many. I mean, I'd run, production open, limited, carry optics, PCC, and then occasionally I'd shoot the 22 match.
And then 3-gun if we had that at the end.
Yeah.
And 2 courses of fire each day. So, I mean, we're limiting it under 24 rounds. So, I mean, you're shooting probably 300 rounds a day, 400 rounds.
Yeah, well, I figured on 400 rounds a match,
Yeah.
Pretty good.
but
So I guess I didn't. Maybe I missed it, Dooley. But do you specifically have? Are you using the CMMG conversion, or do you have a dedicated 22?
no, I do not. I do not. I have two 22 rifles. I have the Bush Light 1022, and then I have a Rossi takedown version of a Winchester Model 98 pump.
Yeah, I was gonna say that you run like your 1022 one competition or something like that.
I never got into the 22 rifle.
Okay.
I just went.
Well, I mean, because I know some guys actually run 1022 and stuff, and that's all fine and dandy. But man, if you have a jam or a stovepipe in those, it just seems like it's so much harder to clear.
No, the 1022, my 1022 is has the wood stock that I pulled off of one of the ones I rescued, and then it got thrown into the laser engraver and has the Bush Light logo on it.
Yeah, it looks solid.
And then I hand threaded a barrel because reasons, and just one of those like, we'll see what we can do with this, because I had a couple laying around, so I hand threaded the old barrel off of it, and then we were gonna make a overly massive Form 1 22 silencer for it. That
With
would,
fender washers?
Yes.
Yes. Excellent. Stay classy. Do you want the Bush Light logo?
Oh, we're gonna do the whole complete the theme, just because you want to make sure that you look like you're out spotlighting coyotes and raccoons.
Oh yeah, you want to make it as white trash as possible.
It's too bad. It's too bad I can't find the old Red Dog logo.
Just put some glass packing in a Bush Light can and put a little hole at the end.
There you go.
But that won't last long enough to make it a usable. I mean, if we were going to do that, I could always just go through and buy. So on silencers and oddities of silencers, there's a guy who makes a silencer that is an oil filter.
Mm-hmm.
And he uses an STP oil filter, and it's an adapter that screws on, and with the ATF rules, he has to have the filter as part of the silencers, so he Sharpies the number that's engraved onto the adapter.
Well, I think what we should do is we should have our good buddy Cody Hall Cerakote a can in the shape or the configuration of a Bush Light can. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, those adapter silencer kits are like $78 plus the $200 tax stamp.
Do they stand up though?
They last 500 rounds with a rifle, I'm told.
That is not okay.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, you still spend almost $300 on it at the end of the day.
Oh no, but you send it back, and he repairs it.
Oh, okay.
And then, which means he screws a new filter onto it.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Okay, I missed that part. I'm like 500 rounds, man. That's a Tuesday.
Well, but that's also like supposed to be with like an AK or something like that.
Ah, okay.
Which 22 might last a little bit longer.
Sure.
So one of the things that people might be asking about, and I know we've shown the pictures, but we haven't really talked about it, is we keep talking about these conversion kits, and then we'll say, oh, it runs 22 long rifle out of your AR. And if somebody is new to these and doesn't quite understand, they're going, how does 22 long rifle, fit? Because, one is tiny and one is small, or is smaller than tiny.
Yeah.
And, but I see Tyler's pulling out that
Oh,
conversion kit
visual's
here.
always better. I mean, you
Yep.
keep going. I'll just hold it up. You can explain
But
it.
the front end of the bolt for that conversion kit is actually the same OD or outer diameter, so it'll fit in to being in the chamber of the 223. So it actually acts as its own chamber. It goes in, and the 223 round, that it has on the outside, as that goes up, the 22 long rifle will go up, and it has its own proprietary bolt that pushes that in, and it creates its own chamber that it fires out of. Now, 223 or 5.56 are both 25 caliber bullets. So it has its own little piece of barrel there that it goes through, and that's what shoots out. So it is made to fit into the chamber of those, and they work really well with that.
Yeah, just for anyone who needs the visualization, where's it at? There's the camera.
Now,
There's
Dooley,
your-
why don't you talk a little bit about
Versus your...
so 22 versus 0.223. There's a thousandths of an inch difference there. How does that affect accuracy? How does that affect barrel wear?
So one of the interesting things about the 22 long rifle round is it is one of the only rounds that, when Garth was showing the 22 long rifle there to the camera,
Right.
you can see, and anyone who's picked it up, you'll notice that the case is the same size as the bullet on them. And that is because a 22 long rifle uses what's called a heeled bullet, which means the backside of the bullet is actually smaller than the rest of it. So the case crimps around that smaller piece, and then you can actually spin a lot of 22 long rifles, the bullets on top of them. And as that goes out, the barrel on a 5.56 or a 223 is actually 223. Now, as that 22 goes out, you're going, oh, but that's a 1,000th inch difference. Well, it's not, because they're actually the same size. Now, 223 rounds, or 5.56 rounds as they would actually be coming out, are technically 224. And as that explosion and everything goes through, it causes the compression, and then those will go through, and it causes them to elongate just a little bit and have the pressure for that gas to come behind. Now, because these are the exact same size, they don't need to have that pressure, because 22s are also a lubricated bullet. That's why you will see, like, they almost have a greasy feel to them. And that lubrication that's on the outside of the bullet, one, is one of the reasons why 22s get so dirty, is they are a dirtier ammunition to fire. But it also allows that gas to seal up around the bullet, so it's not just ricocheting around, bouncing that extra thousandth as it goes down the barrel. It's actually linking up with the lands and grooves of your barrel and engaging the rifling as it should be. But also, because it's coming out at a lower velocity, you don't have the twist rates and stuff like that where it would be coming apart so fast. Where shooting that 30 grain bullet out of a 22, you're going, oh, okay, I'm still getting decent accuracy. Whereas if you're shooting a 30 grain varmint grenade in a 224 out of your 1-in-7 twist barrel, it might be patterning like a shotgun.
Everybody say science.
I'm sorry, I blacked out for a second. What happened?
I just had to tee it up because we've had this conversation before. So I'm like, oh, rain down the knowledge.
Yeah, excuse me while I vomit knowledge for a second, because vomit information, isn't that how it's said?
Yeah. So users don't really have to worry about if they are using a 5.56 barrel, 223 barrel. They don't have to worry about anything prematurely wearing or have any accuracy issues, is what you're saying.
Correct. It will be I'm not going to say you'll be able to pull the sub MOA,
right. I mean, it's still a combat rifle barrel, right? So
yeah,
I've seen that quite a bit working for gun companies. Is if somebody says that their gun can hold, 1 MOA, that's not with every single ammunition, right? That's with normally really good ammo. So they're using like Black Hills Ammunition to proof their barrels, to proof their rifles. Same thing with these 22s. Yeah, they're holding 1 MOA, but then you go back and you put Walmart Tula ammo in there, you are not holding 1 MOA. So don't call your gun manufacturer and bitch to them that your gun is holding like 3 MOA because you're putting crap ammunition through it. And realistically, when it comes to, like combat barrels or combat style rifle barrels, like an AR is, you 1.5 MOA is pretty good, especially for a 16-inch. So I know a lot of them out there, like this particular one. I just spoke with Ballistic Advantage a week ago. They're actually guaranteeing that their barrels will hold 1 MOA or better, which is really, really good. So
Yep, it is. The Army on their current run of M4s, or well, it isn't current run. It's the M16 platform across the military is considered a 2 MOA rifle.
Mm-hmm.
That is the standard, the minimum standard that the rifle has to meet in order to be mil spec. It has to be able to hold a 2 MOA group.
And when a human torso is like 15 inches wide, I mean, when you're qualling it 300 to 500 yards, I mean, you're putting a bullet in a body, and that's really all that matters. Now, if you're doing PRS, yeah, it's a completely different story, right? But I don't know many people, and I don't shoot PRS, but I don't know too many people who are using a 16-inch AR to do PRS either. So
no, and they're also not using 855 green tip, because 855 green tip, well, everyone's like, oh man, it's got to be great. It's what the Army uses. It's military. It's good stuff. That's 2 MOA ammunition.
Military grade means lowest bidder. Just FYI.
That means Coors Light.
Yes.
Remember, the NSN for beer is Coors Light. But so mil spec means that you're getting Coors Light quality. And I know somebody's out there going, hell yeah, Coors Light's the best. But
half of Iowa right now.
Yeah, it's the so that stacking tolerances when you're talking about ammunition and barrels, there you get into the that's a 4 MOA rifle, which is why the standard silhouette for the Army is 18 inches across, because at 300 meters, which 3 times 4, okay, that's
don't hurt yourself. Okay,
yeah, well, I mean,
now I got a side question here. So let's say I'm shooting my Tula 55 grade out my 223. I'm out to the range. I'm hitting a decent group with it, but that's not what I use to sight in. Let's say I use like a PMC 55 grade. Am I going to shoot a better group with a PMC because it's a better quality ammo, in my opinion? And then I switch up. Okay. So don't track with the Tula. Sight your gun in with your better quality ammo, even though it might be the same grain, and then don't be discouraged when you're shooting your. Okay. All right.
And don't get me wrong, right? Like we're really splitting hairs on MOA and accuracy here. With combat with combat weapons, right? And especially with 22, right? So most of the time when we're going out to the range and I'm using this 22 plinker, the max I'm really doing is 100 yards. I'm shooting between 25 to 50 yards. If you're just looking for an everyday plinker, which I think that's what most people are buying these dedicated 22s and these 22 conversions for, you are absolutely fine. It's just right now we're 3 nerds who are really going down a rabbit hole. Okay. So, but yes, to answer your question, yes. So like especially if you're like hunting or PRS shooting, right? Like when I go deer hunting, I will actually use federal trophy tips, for example. Now, I also have some leftover Hornady Vital Shock, right? If I put that in my gun that is sighted in for the federal trophy bonded tip or whatever, I am going to get a different point of impact for sure. Now, that also being said, it's not 100% the ammunition either, because there are certain guns, like you can have probably 2 types or 2 brands of ammunition that are the same in terms of like quality and grade. There might be something about that one particular brand that just meshes better with your particular type of firearm. And the best way to get around that is like, when I was hunting, I actually called the manufacturer and said, hey, you guys are guaranteeing this MOA. What ammo are you using to achieve this? And then that's when they told me, this particular case was FN. FN said, yeah, we're using Federal, some match grade bullet. Well, then I called Federal and I said, hey, do you have something similar to this, but in a hunting round? So that was my process for it. But at the end of the day, it's just really trying out what ammos work best with your firearm.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Yep. And that the reason why I instantly said no, Tula's going to be different is the reason why is the bullet weights might be the same. You're going to have different velocities that it fires at. That depends upon the quality of the powders and all that, and then making sure that as we all know, the Russians are known for being incredibly consistent in manufacturing.
Well, yeah, that's what I was just gonna say too. I'm like half my arsenal back here is Russian ammo. So.
Yeah, but the incredible consistency of yes, vodka is good. Was that a Monday morning Ivan load or a? So those things. I'm not trying to crap all over the ammo because, I've had a pile of it and shot it up before too, especially at some of the 3-gun where, I know I'm not going to be shooting over 75 yards.
Yep.
If it can't eat steel, it doesn't deserve brass.
Oh yeah, we've all had steel ammo, so don't try and say otherwise.
Yep. But well, guys, I think we have significantly beat this 22 horse to death.
And it's been fun. It's been a quick hour. I'm not gonna lie.
So I guess to wrap it up, then, what are your guys' overall, or what are your ending thoughts on the whole thing? Versus conversion versus dedicated. What are your guys' opinion on it?
Julie knows my opinion. I'm pretty much a dedicated guy because if I have the chance to convert something, then I can't make my mind up. I'm so OCD about my guns now that I have to have a dedicated. I've got a dedicated can for every gun almost now, so I can't share. I can't do that.
Can't swing both ways. I got you.
I'm very much so in the camp of build one out exactly like the rifle you use the most, or you want it, you're using as an analog, and then drop that conversion bolt inside of it instead of a standard BCG, because you have all the capabilities to do everything that you would before, and then you have your dedicated rifle. Also, when something breaks on the other one, you can always pull that bolt out and go back to shooting it as a 223.
Yep. Yeah, and I kind of agree with both camps in that aspect. Personally, I would have preferred a dedicated 22, right? However, the reason I like the CMMG currently so much with the conversion is everything Dooley just said. But if I'm going to buy a dedicated rifle, I want to be able to 100% tweak that rifle to exactly how I want it. And a lot of the rifles that are out there right now, even though they have tons of really good features, every single one that I looked at just has like one like little thing that's proprietary, and that just kind of digs at me, right? I kind of wish that these 22s would almost go the way of the cell phone chargers, right? It would be so great if they could all just use the same magazines. And not, but they all are just making us buy their own proprietary shit, which is fine as long as
that's because Glock doesn't make a 22 meg yet.
Oh. That's what I was just going to say, because we just had this conversation last week.
Oh wait, they do, and it sucks.
Oh, right on.
It's fine. I'm not going to get into it. Everything's fine.
Yep.
Drink your beer.
I do. It's delicious.
All right. Well, guys, Tyler, do you have anything to say to them before we leave? How can they get a hold of you and all that? And then we'll add you to our host page as we come up. And guys, be prepared to see a lot more Tyler.
Awesome. No, I love being on. I love the opportunity. It's awesome. I think Dooley and I, especially when I got to drive to drill, I got a 5-hour drive to drill. I normally call Dooley and we just talk random gun facts. And so it's kind of neat to get together as a group like this and be able to actually spew this random knowledge that you just acquire after you've, just bought a bunch of dumb shit over the years, bought really good shit over the years. And it's great to be around you guys and be able to kind of share some of my experience with everybody else out there. So, Tyler Brockle, I own Trigger Interactive. We are a live fire training system. Check us out at triggerinteractive.com. However, my focus going forward is just to be able to chat with you guys and have fun and share kind of the knowledge and experience that I've gained over the years as well from just being a part of the firearms industry.
Right on. Garth, got anything to add?
I guess I'll just give them our credentials here. You can find us at AR-15 Podcast 2.0 at Instagram, AR-15 Podcast 2.0 at gmail.com, AR-15 Podcast on Facebook. You can check us out at the network if you guys aren't listening there. If you're listening through iTunes or any other media devices, you can find us at firearmsradio.net. That's where you can check out all our affiliate links. We have a whole handful of them. Go check them out. Go through the process. Like I said, we have a couple new sponsors. Don't forget to check out those awesome promo codes because you can get some pretty sweet stuff. And beyond that, we should also probably talk about one of our other sponsors we haven't mentioned in a while, and that is Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co.
Yes, patriotpatch.co. I know that we have our Patch of the Month Club. And Garth, you got yours today.
I got mine today. I hadn't been to the post office in a while. But it says, believe in a higher power. And if you can't get behind that right there, man, a couple 1911s with the Irish cross on it.
Well, those wouldn't be 1911s, friend. Those are Browning high powers.
Oh, gosh. Look at that. See, I don't know handguns like that. I know Glocks. I know SIGs. And
that's because all Glocks look the same.
Yeah. I like it.
They're like Rolex, but without the price point.
Pretty much. I know if I point it, it goes bang. So.
All right. Well.
Yeah. So with that, I guess I'm just happy trails until we meet again.
Yep. And I'm still not singing. See you folks out there. You stay armed and stay safe.